Hi friends, and welcome back to the absolutely last video in my What Actually Sold series from last Thriftmas in July, where I went into Goodwill every single day for the first 12 days to see what things we could find, mostly on the new racks and the new carts, to flip online for a profit. In this series, we have been going through each and every thrift haul to see what things sold and what things didn't, what sold well, what things I should have left behind, and what still hasn't sold. So we are going to run through days 11 and 12 of Thriftmas in this video, and then at the very end I'm going to tell you my numbers from all 12 days of Thriftmas so that you know how much profit I made overall, and I'll tell you my percentage of things that have actually sold. So again, I am filming this in mid-November, and we did these shopping trips back in July. They were all listed, most of them at the beginning of July when I was thrifting them, some of them more towards the end of July, a little bit just as I got caught up. But for the most part, things that were listed in July, have they sold by November? Now obviously my success is based on my business model here. If you have a different type of business model, maybe you are really geared towards fast selling items, these might not sound like great numbers. However, if you were into more long tail items, then these might look amazing to you. I am somewhere in between. Obviously, we love fast selling items, but I have the storage to sell things that it will take 6 months, 9 months, a year, or longer to sell. Those are not ideal, but there's room for them within my business. So keep that in mind as we move along. So as I go through, I will of course be popping up the footage from the Thriftmas so that you can get a little bit of a reminder of what item I am actually talking about. So on Thriftmas Day 11, I spent $205.65 to purchase 19 items, and my cost of goods was as noted in this video. So let me explain that for a second. Normally, I have one cost of goods. On Thriftmas Day 12, I'm going to tell you my one cost of goods because I'll buy 10 items, I'll divide everything by 10, and that's my cost of goods. This was the day, if you happen to remember, you can go back and watch the video, I'll have it linked down below if you'd like, where I found so many new shoes in the new shoe carts that they had rolled out. And some of these shoes were pricey. So, and then I bought like a few clothing items that were like $5. So instead of averaging everything together and like driving up the cost of goods, like if I bought a shirt for $5, the cost of goods for that was going to be like $10 or $11, like double what I actually paid for it. So it would have been really skewed, and I decided not to do that. So what I did end up doing, as you'll see, I'm going to tell you the cost of goods per item just in this video, because the shirts I just left at $5. And then the highest priced ones, some of the ones I bought for $15, I kept those as $15, and then I averaged everything else. So I will explain that as we go. But yeah, this was a really good trip. I love finding shoes at my Goodwill when they are worth picking up, because things are pricey at the racks at my Goodwills in my area. Okay, right off the bat, unfortunately though, we're starting with one that hasn't sold. These were a pair of Nike Dunk Low, like a white pink colorway. These were a youth girl's size. And I actually, when I was saying them in the video, I said I wasn't going to get these. And then at the end, when I was sorting my cart, I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I get these? And then I got home and realized, oh, it's because there was a flaw that in the like 30 minutes I was in the store, I forgot about. And so I ended up buying them. So they're still in good condition, but there's more heel drag on them than I would have preferred to. And so I should have just left them in the store. That might be inhibiting the sale, but right now these haven't yet sold. So this was one of the items. The average cost of goods that I did for the not $5 items and the not $15 items was $11.14. So that's what I still have to make up for this item. Next was a pair of UGG Australia. If they say Australia on them, they are made in Australia, so they're a little bit higher end than just the UGG and the Coolabura by UGG, which is another diffusion line that's actually not even sold anymore. But these were UGG Australia, a blue suede moccasin. And these were in such good condition. They looked fantastic and they sold really well. So my cost of goods was $11.14 on this one. They sold on eBay for $46.80 in just 21 days, and I made $30.09 on these. I see UGG a lot at my Goodwills. I have stopped picking up the kind of traditional like boots with the fur, if you know what I'm talking about, because I have some from last Thriftmas that are still sitting. But these really unique ones are the ones that I will look up because they tend to sell a lot better. Next was another one that hasn't sold, unfortunately. Cost of goods $11.14, and it was a pair of Kate Spade pink patent leather loafers. I was iffy about these in the store. I really personally like Kate Spade, so I might have let my opinion kind of creep into this one a little bit more than I should have. They also were a smaller size. I have them listed pretty high though because they are really good quality shoes. I might just need to drop the price down to get these to sell. Next was a pair of a Bayo. They're the Bayo slide sandals, like a hiking outdoor type sandal. And average cost of goods $11.14 on this one. These sold on Poshmark just recently for $36. They were listed for 111 days and I made $16.16. Next was a pair of kind of just basic Crocs, but they weren't like the Croc like mule clog style. They were a different style of Croc. I've always said that the non-traditional Crocs sell better and I tend to look them up. These were called the Patricia. They were a pair of black sandals. Average cost was $11.14. These sold on eBay for $27.99. I had them listed for $34.99. Somebody grabbed them with my 20% off sale that's usually running in my eBay store. They were only listed for 16 days, so these actually sold a lot faster than I expected them to, and I made $10.96 on them. They were a little bit cheaper in store too. I think they had them listed at like $8 or $10 goodwill price, but yeah, I was happy to see these sell fast, especially since they were a really summery sandal, so I'm not sitting on them all through winter. Next were a pair of Nike Air Max, like a triple black colorway. They were women's size 8. And these sold really well. My cost of goods on these I also listed as $11.14. They sold on eBay for $52.48, and I ended up making $30.56. So I think I said maybe in the last video that I'm hit or miss on Nike, especially like Nike Dunks, Nike Air Max, and I don't know, these ones do well. I do pretty well with the triple black colorway, so the midsoles, the inside, and the bottom soles. I don't actually know what the 3 black. The midsoles, the bottoms, I don't know. Somebody let me know in the comments if you know. But basically, if they're all black, Nike calls that triple black. Next was a really good sale. It was my first time ever finding this brand. If you're not familiar with it, I didn't know about it for the first year or so that I was a reseller. And these are the Kuru Cloud sneakers. So Kuru, you'll hopefully be seeing in the footage that's popping up, is a good one to keep an eye out for. Cost of goods on this was $11.14. These sold on Poshmark for $50. That was an offer I accepted after 99 days, and I made $28.86. These were also getting a lot of traction before they did sell. So seems like it's a very popular brand. Moving into the 3 shirts that I picked up. The first one was a brand called Lalaboo, and this is the dad shirt. It's kind of like a baby carrier, but it's a shirt. So baby can be pressed right up against dad. These are men's. I'm sure they make female versions too, or like if the baby was in a baby carrier. But this one was a size extra large, which I think helped it a little bit too. I listed my cost of goods as $5. This sold on Poshmark for $30. That was an offer I accepted. It was listed for 47 days and I made $19. The next one unfortunately has not yet sold, and it was a really pretty Sundance, like a white eyelet shirt. I did wear this a couple times, so at least I reaped that benefit from it. Sundance is closing its doors, so it's very sad. It was a great brand. I really like selling it. And anytime a brand goes out of business, it could go in one of 2 ways for the resale market. It could start reselling well because people that love the brand that can't buy it anymore from the brand go to the resale market, the secondhand market, to purchase the items. Or sometimes people are like, it's closed, I don't want anything to do with it anymore. And so the resale value tanks. So it's going to be interesting to see which category this one falls in. Obviously, I'm hoping for the former because I do have a couple Sundance things listed still. And then the next one I'm going to put in the category of it was a bad pickup and we can learn together. This was a Fry & Co. plaid short sleeve shirt. Obviously, I'm used to selling Fry, the shoes. I'm pretty sure that Fry & Co. is not in any way associated with the Fry shoes, which I actually remember thinking that in store because I did look it up, but based on the comps, I still thought I could sell it. I didn't think it was going to sell like really high, but I thought it would sell, and it hasn't. I was wrong. So if I was doing this haul again today, I would probably leave this behind because now that that tag is like in my head, I'm seeing it quite a bit. So it doesn't look super rare. It doesn't look super special. It is a size extra large. I thought that would help it as well. I don't know. Maybe it just needs to take a little bit more time. Okay, moving back into a couple solds. In the new carts, they have the new racks, obviously, and then in the new carts, they just put shoes, they put bags, they put home goods, they put anything they want in there. It's just like a treasure trove. And I picked up 2 really nice bags. The first was a Rebecca Minkoff blue suede bag. I see a lot of resellers saying they won't sell Rebecca Minkoff. And I honestly have had decently good luck. But know your price point, know the return on your investment that you're comfortable with and the profit margin that you're okay with. And yeah, I don't know. I've had good luck with it. This was a really stunning blue genuine suede bag. It was in excellent condition. It had like a fringe trim on it. This was one that I put the actual cost of goods down because it was a little bit pricey. So this was $15. I listed it as $15 in my cost of goods. It sold on eBay for $48 in just 12 days, and I made $28.13. The next one I found with it just looked like good quality, and it felt like good quality. I was not familiar with the brand, but I looked it up. The brand was called Foley and Corinna, and it had some decent comps. I didn't necessarily see like this exact bag, but I saw others of their bag that gave me some comfort. This one, my cost of goods was $12. That's how much I paid in store for it. This one sold on Poshmark for $50 after just 5 days, and I made $28 on that one. I think it sold with discounted shipping. So keep an eye out. Definitely a high quality brand. It looks like something that's worth comping. Next one was actually something my daughter came along. If you've been following these, my daughter is often with me for these videos, and she found a really cute pair of New With Tags Squishmallow slippers. They're like little cats, and unfortunately they haven't sold. They weren't that expensive, so I don't know, maybe it wasn't a good buy. They're probably a little bit saturated. I should have done a better job of looking up this specific like print pattern style. They were cats. And I don't know, but maybe somebody will grab these before Christmas. Fingers crossed, because I think they're like Christmassy colored, if I'm remembering correctly. And I listed those as $11.14 and my cost of goods also. Okay, next were these strawberry Crocs. I mentioned earlier I don't necessarily like buying just the generic slide Crocs, but I do when they're a novelty print of some sort. Those always sell better for me, and these were no exception. These sold on eBay for $30 after just 19 days, and I made $12.05. And my cost of goods is $11.14 on that one. Also, cost of goods at $11.14 were these Coach. They were the Willa pumps. They were really beautiful. They were a really beautiful black leather. They were in such good condition. They were like classic, quiet luxury to a T. These are the kind of Coach that will sell in shoes. The like boat shoes with all the monograms, I don't know. I can't get any of those to sell. But these did really well. They sold on Poshmark for $60 after just 12 days, making me $36.86. I also picked up another pair of Coach, which we'll get to in just a minute or two. The next ones were these On Running. They were the Cloud Flow shoes. These were, at the time, the first time I had ever found On Running in good enough condition and a decent enough price for me to pick it up. Average cost of goods on these was $11.14. They sold on Poshmark for $55 in just 13 days, making me $32.86. Next ones, unfortunately, haven't sold, and I'm kicking myself because I think the comps told me these weren't going to sell, and I picked them up anyway. These were the Crocs Crush platform. They were like a beige slide like platform Croc, and I feel like I remember seeing a couple comps of this style that weren't great, but like these type of unique Crocs are usually the ones that do well, and so I just followed my gut, and this time my gut was wrong. That's disappointing, but like my gut is right enough to where I just have to take these chances. They'll sell. I just probably have to reduce the price. Right now I have $11.14 into them. Next one ended up being the best purchase of the day, and it were these Free People Frontier boots. They were a really cool, like distressed looking leather, like cowboy ankle boot. And I did put $15 is how much I paid for them as my cost of goods. These sold on Poshmark for $80 after 54 days, and I made $49 just on that one pair of shoes. These were also getting tons of attention. I remember, I think I said it in a ship with me, that the day these sold, they had like 50 likes or something. Like they were really hot. So if you happen to see those, pick them up. In my experience, Free People shoes do better than Free People clothes. So I love, love, love finding Free People shoes. Last but not least for this day were these Coach Virginia. They were a tall leather boot. These also I decided were worth picking up. I paid $15 for them as my cost of goods. I did see that they weren't going to sell as well as those Coach, like the dress shoes, and they didn't, and that's okay. I still made some money. They sold on eBay for $45 after 11 days, and I made $24.85 on those. So as a reminder, my total spent was $205.65 for 19 items, and as of today, 13 of those 19 items has sold. So it's pretty good. I will take it. And my total profit on this haul, so my entire cost of goods taken out, and in the green is $292.86, plus I still have 6 items left to sell. That will just be pure profit. All right, moving into Thriftmas day 12. Here's the thing. This one was not as good, and I'm sad looking back on it that like this is the one we're ending with, but it is what it is. I'm here to be honest and transparent with you. On Thriftmas day 12, we spent $64.78 to buy 13 items. My average cost of goods was $4.98. I bought some lower value items, plus I probably had a 20% off coupon that I get from donating to the store. The first, because I'm not going to sugarcoat it, I'm just going to throw it all out there. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items have not yet sold. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts. It's okay. We still made money. We still made money. The first was this J. McLaughlin blue and white, like floral printed cotton shirt. It was 100% cotton. It was not their Catalina cloth. I do think it will sell. I think it's an extra small, so it's pretty small, but it's never going to sell as fast as the Catalina cloth and some of their other fabrics. But hopefully come this spring, it's very springy. We kind of missed the best season for this, I think. And yeah, but J. McLaughlin really never does me wrong. So if I ran across this today, I would still pick it. Next is one that I might not pick up, and it was these Spanx faux leggings. Just normal run-of-the-mill Spanx faux leggings. I grabbed them because they do sometimes sell for me. These ones just have not. Another one that I'm on the fence as to whether I would pick it up again if I shopped today were these Girlfriend Collective leggings. I can usually sell Girlfriend Collective, but sometimes it takes a while. So I don't know. I am also very much on the fence with this brand. Let me know what you think. I'd be really interested to know if you pick up this brand to resell. The next one was an experiment for me. And here we are again, lessons learned. This was a Heartloom pink shirt. I had seen other people sell this brand. It was the first time I found it. Comps were sort of mixed, so I decided to try it out. And unfortunately, it hasn't sold. It was really pretty. I'm trying to remember if this was one that I wore or not. It might have been. And yeah, we're going to have to keep waiting this one out as well. The next one is surprising to me. This is a Title IX short sleeve shirt. Title IX is a really good activewear brand. They do a lot of golf. It's good for like tennis, pickleball. This looked like a cycling shirt. It was called the Sunbuster style. And this one hasn't sold. It was getting some traction and then that kind of died down. So I don't know if I'm just like in the wrong season for cyclers. Cycling gear sells the best for me in spring and the beginning of summer. I mean, people are obviously still cycling, but no go on this one. I still love Title IX. If I found this today, I'd probably still pick it up. This next one also has surprised me. I had another one, I think in the last video about this brand that I wasn't surprised by, but this one surprises me. That's Judy Blue. The last pair that didn't sell were the skinny fit, which okay, that makes sense. These were a larger size and these were a wide leg style. So these haven't sold. They do have some distressing, which brings them down in value just a bit because distressing isn't quite as in. But again, people still wear it. And these just haven't sold. So I still love my Judy Blue. My Judy Blue is still selling, but not these ones yet. And then last of my at least strand that hasn't sold was this Janie Jack pink plaid shirt. I grabbed these. They're usually like $2.49 in the kids' clothes. This one hasn't sold, but I just sold one like identical to it in like a slightly different colorway a few days ago. So they do sell. This one just needs a little bit more time. It is also very spring. Okay, we finally have something that sold. This was one I remember finding on one of the new racks, and it was this Maeve blue dress. It's called the Sew It Seam style. It had like contrast white seams down it. It was a larger size, which is good. I don't find Maeve as much in the larger sizes. And it sold on eBay for $32.40. After just 2 days, that was the best part. I'm already making some profit back. And I made $21.53 on that one. The next one was this Athleta leopard full sit jacket. It was the Salutation style. It was a newer style, I could tell from the inside, but Athleta is another one that's bread and butter for me, and it's hit or miss. I thought this was substantial enough, and it just hasn't sold. I mean, I'm wearing leopard print right now. It was a size small. I thought about keeping it. I'm maybe wishing that I should have, but it is what it is. And yay, at least the next ones have all sold. We're gonna round it out with some solds. The 10th item was this Vineyard Vines quarter zip pullover. Vineyard Vines is another really great bread and butter brand for me. I don't pick up everything. I actually picked up something just today from Goodwill that's Vineyard Vines, but I do like picking up certain things. This sold on Poshmark for $30 after 95 days, and I made $19.02. And these ones are so easy to list for me because I sell these quarter zips a lot. So I'll just copy and paste a listing from, whatever brand it is and just change it as I need to. Next was a really cute cashmere sweater. It was actually a short sleeve cashmere sweater, and it had a little bit of like black lace on the trim. It was from the brand Robert Rodriguez. I think it was also Nordstrom. And this sold on eBay for $24 after just 5 days, and I made $14.16. Cashmere, I love picking up, but just because it's a 100% cashmere sweater doesn't mean it's going to sell for $50. The brand does matter. I will pick up almost anything that if it's in good condition, but when I got this offer for $24, which was lower than I had it listed, I did kind of recheck everything, make sure it was in line with comps. It did seem to be its short sleeve, so that, devalues it a little bit, and I decided to take it and get my $15 out of it. Next, as of thus far, was my favorite and best find of the day, and it was this Desigual blue dress. It was like a tank dress, and then it had like a tiered ruffle maxi skirt with different prints and patterns and florals on it. I did list it as new without tags. It still had all of the manufacturer hang tag things on it. The actual just tag was pulled off, and it was in flawless condition, and I got positive feedback on it. This sold on eBay for $40, and it was only listed for 24 days, and I made $28.87. It's actually the first and only time thus far I have found and sold Desigual, so I will keep an eye out for that one as well. I do think this brand is fairly style dependent though, so be careful if you find it, check some comps. I think there are certain styles that do much better than others. Last but not least is going to sound very familiar because I sold the same thing in a different size on Thriftmas Day 11, which we just went through, and it was another Lalaboo dad shirt. This one was a size large. I just found them on 2 different days, and I'm assuming they were probably donated from the same person, but this one sold on Poshmark. I accepted an offer for $40, so it sold higher than the extra large one did. It was listed for 31 days, and I made $24.70. So for Thriftmas Day 12, my total spent was $64.78 for 13 items. And right now, only 5 of the 13 items have sold. So that is not a very good sell-through rate at this time. But again, this was also the most recently listed one, so it hasn't been listed quite as long as some of the others. And the good thing, though, is that even with just those 5 items that have sold, I've made all my money back. And I've made $108.28 with 8 items left to sell. So that's certainly a good news story. So as of today, for all of Thriftmas, I went back so that I could tell you some good news stories of additional things that have sold since I did these videos. And unfortunately, there's only one new item. And it was this J.Jill chenille sweater. And I think last time when I did these What Actually Sold videos, I had more updates to tell you, but I also spread those videos out much longer. So I started them much earlier when a lot of things weren't really selling yet, and so I had more things to catch up on. I also did 2 days at a time, so I only did 6 of these videos just to kind of condense them a little bit so we could get some other content out. And last time I did all 12 videos, I think. So that sweater has sold, yay. But as of today, I picked up in total 146 items in Thriftmas in July, and 85 of those have sold. So 85 out of 146. That is a 58.2% sell-through rate after, 4 or 5 months being listed. And my total profit, so all of my expenses taken out, including cost of goods on everything, including the unsold items, is $1,477.95, and I still have 61 items left to sell, and all of those will then just be pure profit. So lots of things still left to sell that are selling in my inventory. Hopefully you will see more of those selling in some of my monthly what sold videos or my ship with me's on my channel. I'm still very happy with it. Again, I was in the store each day for 30, 45 minutes, maybe sometimes an hour if I was having a good day. And I've made almost $1,500 after just a few months. Obviously, there was time processing and, doing all the work that us resellers do behind the scenes that people don't see when they're offering us $5 on eBay for something that we listed at $50. But I think that's just the life of being a reseller. We have each other as this wonderful community. Thank you so much for being part of my community, for being so supportive in this series and in all of my other videos. It really means the world to me. I know I say that, it sounds cliche, but it really, 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 really does. And my daughter, she's in a lot of my videos, and so I'm always sharing comments and stuff from you guys in, and she just gets the biggest smile. So with that, this is going to go out on a Saturday. This is going to go out on a Sunday, I think. And we are starting Thriftmas in December, just normal Thriftmas on December 1st. So make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss that series. It's going to be so much fun. Hopefully I'll have my daughter along with me. She usually enjoys coming along, and then sometimes she gets stuck coming along because I have to do the videos to get them out. But we're going to have a lot of fun. I know we are. Hopefully we'll find some good stuff. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you have not already. And I will see you in Thriftmas. Bye.